So, I'm here today with Jess and Michelle from EY. Thank you very much for joining me. It'd be great if you could start off by introducing yourself and talking a little bit about the roles that you both have.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Jess Etherington. I'm a sustainability regulatory lawyer, part of Michelle's team here at EY Law. Been a lawyer for the last few years and specialising in sustainability regulatory advice for the varied clients that we advise in this space.
And my name is Michelle Davies, and I head up the Global Sustainability and Clean Energy legal team at EY, and I'm part of the EY sustainability practice. I've been involved in the sustainability and clean energy area for over 25 years, so it makes me feel quite old, but it is a sector that keeps evolving. It's incredibly dynamic, it's challenging right now, but we've seen challenges before, and it's an incredibly exciting place to be.
Fantastic. We've got a lot of expertise here today. It's very good to have you both. So I know, Michelle, you've just come off stage at Sustainability Live Net Zero, and you touched a little bit on the sort of regulations that are happening in the sustainability sector at the moment, especially in the EU with the omnibus package. If you could sort of talk a little bit to that, that'd be great for our viewers.
Well, I'll hand over to the expert, to Jess, because there has been a lot going on, and there's a lot of concern right now about what organisations should be doing. And there's a more generic concern around whether the EU is as committed to sustainability as it was previously. So, Jess, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the European Commission last year announced that it had plans to simplify some of the existing regulations and directives which it passed through years ago. Its main focus at the moment is simplification of the reporting requirements, and as part of its first omnibus package, what it's proposing to do is simplify the CSRD, which is the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, and the CSDDD, Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, as well as packaging in simplification for the EU taxonomy regulation and CBAM as well. Quite interestingly, what it's proposing to do is increase the thresholds for the CSRD, which could bring up to potentially about 80% of companies that are currently in scope out of scope. So it's quite a substantive and substantial change that it's proposing, which we really didn't expect to necessarily happen. It's also proposing to delay the reporting requirements for large entities by 2 years, and in addition to that, simplifying some of the requirements that the CSDDD is imposing in respect of its due diligence obligations for some of the largest entities. So a lot is happening right now. It's yet to be seen whether this proposal will be enacted as proposed. It's got to go to the European Parliament and the Council now to be debated, but there is a lot of change at the moment, and with the current political environment as well, a lot of our clients specifically are thinking, how do we best deal with these changes? How do we best approach it? And what we are kind of seeing at the moment is potentially a wait-and-see approach.
So, Michelle, I think you wanted to add something there.
Yes, because we always say, don't we, Jess, to clients, what you have to do is not just what the regulation tells you to do, but what your key stakeholders require of you. So even if organisations fall out of scope, but their stakeholders still want reporting on that information because maybe they've got used to it, or were expecting it, or were recalibrating their own risk assessment because they were assuming they were going to get this information, they may still require it. So we're waiting to see on two things. One, what the regulation actually says, and then two, if it does go as far as is expected, will stakeholders be happy with that, or will they actually require more information? So it's not as straightforward as just looking at the law. You have to look at what those that are keeping you in business and keeping you valuable want you to do.
It's a fascinating subject, really is. It's complex to get your head around at the best of times. Even though the EU is saying that it wants to simplify things, that's not always as simple as it sounds. So, I mean, how at EY do you help businesses navigate these sorts of challenges? Because it's difficult. There's obviously a lot of other things happening in the world right now that are making it difficult for sustainability execs. What would your advice be to your clients on that front?
So I just got asked that on stage, and I will just repeat what I said on stage, which is that Organisation, really sustainability should just be embedded in strategy. It shouldn't be something that sits over here and gets dealt with separately. It does need to be embedded in because there are risks associated with it and key stakeholders need to be aware of those risks. The key advice I would give to business leaders right now, where there is a juxtaposition between sustainability activity and perceived value and fiduciary duties, is this: have a clear sustainability or transition strategy or plan. Be aware that the only thing that's certain is uncertainty at the moment around sustainability, so be prepared to change that plan. Have a very clear engagement strategy with your stakeholders and be transparent with them as you adjust and recalibrate your strategy or plan. It's all about transparency, clarity and engagement now. Everybody has to be kept on side. You don't want to be doing something which you're not ultimately going to get value for because maybe those who are engaging with you don't see that value. So it's absolutely critical that sustainability and value are now linked and there is a very, very clear narrative and engagement around it.
That's an excellent way to end things off. Thank you very much for joining us today.